All right, I'm super excited today to be speaking with Stefano Favaretto. He is an Italian photographer and NFT artist. After working as a psychologist and psychotherapist for about 17 years, he became a full-time artist following his passion for photography. His artistic research aims to investigate the relationships between real-life materials and the spiritual world. And Favaretto tries to capture the figures and the energies in the natural elements that he sees with his real eyes, using a digital camera, bringing them to light. Having been exhibited all over the world, Favaretto is now a pioneer in the Metaverse and in the NFT space. I'm really excited to have met him actually through a mutual artist friend. And we already had a great conversation the other week, some weeks ago. And yeah, I found it super interesting what he had to say about his art and his process and everything that he's been up to with all these exhibitions he's been doing and all these projects. So I'm super excited to have you here today, Stefano.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting me. Really happy to be here with you.
My absolute pleasure. So Stefano, I'm very curious for you to actually share a little bit more about what you do, your art. I mean, I've given a little bit of an introduction, but perhaps, you'd like to expand a little bit on that. You also have in your bio saying spiritual artist, which I love, and your art really reflects that. So yeah, would you like to introduce from yourself?
Yes, sure. I'm Stefano. I'm an Italian-based photographer and artist, and I'm living in the northern part of Italy, near the beautiful mountains, the Dolomites. They are an important part of my life because the Dolomites are mountains that are much related to legends, and we will see later that during my journey and as artist, the legends were playing an important role. No? But probably what is important to say about me is that before becoming a full-time artist, I worked for, as you said, for 70 years as a psychologist and psychotherapist. And that was an important part of my life because I had the possibility to keep in touch with the deepest part of the human being. No? Because of course, when you are working with people, trying to help them, you have really to keep in touch and to be able to reach the deepest part of the people in order to understand how to help them. No? And I think this was an important part of my life. Another important part of my life that I'm coming from a family where the spiritual topic or theme was like the daily bread, I can say, in the sense my father work as a healer for all of his life. So I work in an environment where spirituality was always a theme, no? And I was taking picture probably since I was a child because my father was also a hobby photographer. So he gave me this passion about photography, and I spent many times into the dark room developing black and white pictures, So I grew up really with photography, And after these 70 years as a psychologist, I decided to leave this job that was becoming for me a little bit too difficult, too stressful. So I decided to become a full-time artist. And now I'm doing that since almost 8 years. I don't want to
Wow.
tell you everything now.
It's such an impressive journey that you've been through. And also I love hearing about how your dad was a healer and that you've, for a very early age, you've already had the spirituality around you and how you pass on photography and that interest that you both shared. I think that's really, really beautiful as well. So you started mentioning how you shifted from being a psychologist, a psychotherapist for 17 years, and then decided to become a full-time artist. What happened for you in that moment to decide that? What was the sort of like the driving force in that moment? I know you started to share, but tell
There
me a
are
bit
two
more.
important reasons that happened in that moment because I decided to do this jump. First of all, I'm living in a family where the idea about helping our people and doing something concretely for people in order to support and to create a better world was always something important. So the first step was to become a psychologist in order to try to do that and to help people. But if I'm a psychologist, I just can help one person in front of me. So in my whole life I could totally help 1,000 people. So I was thinking, if I become an artist, thanks to my art, I can reach more people and I can try to be more helpful to people. So because thanks to art, you can reach millions of people if you are able to do that. This was the first reason because I decided to do the job. The second reason was that my father died as cancer 10 years ago now. And he was the typical person, Italian person saying, when I will retire, I will do what I want in my life. No? But he was never able to do that because he died before. So he worked all his life before retiring, saying, I will go ahead with my hobbies when I retire, but he never had the possibility to do that. So I decided I wanted to live today, not tomorrow. So I was really brave to leave a very secure job. I was also earning well as a psychologist. And can you imagine, Maria, all the people were saying around me that I was crazy to jump into the unknown world of art, no? That is not where nothing is sure, nothing is given as sure. So of course it was not easy. But those were the two most important reasons that let me take this decision.
Wow, and they are so profound because I think there's this this general thing in our culture of, you know, waiting until tomorrow, or, you know, I'll do it tomorrow, or, you know, when that time comes, then I'll do what I want, and that's a real problem. So I love how that kind of, obviously I'm very sorry of his passing, and with all of that, yeah, that feeling of, oh, I wish that he would have also self-actualized himself perhaps before he then passed away. But then that was an important message for you, which obviously is amazing that came out of it at the same time that you started to live in the now. And I think that's really courageous and really what most people really fear, and the challenge for most of people to actually really think, connect to their intuition and say, no, I am going to live now. I'm not going to postpone till tomorrow. So I think that's really powerful. And yeah.
I think, Maria, this is really an important thing that you are saying, because we are too much living in the future instead enjoying the present. Because the biggest fear of people is the economical part. So every person is trying to put away money since the childhood in order to have a future, or waiting until the day we are retiring. But are we sure that we are able to join this day? And we spend all our time putting away, not enjoying our life because of this. So I think we really have to learn to live today. I know it's not always easy. I'm not a rich person, so it was not easy. I did many sacrifices to do that, but I was conscious about that. I was conscious that my life was going to change after leaving a secure job. But every day I found a way to survive. And I think sometimes we have also to be brave in our life and to keep our decision. If we are not happy about our life, we should start to change something. I hear too many people complain that are not happy, that they are stressed. So sometimes we really need to take some decision and to change something,
Yeah.
knowing, believing that things will coming to us if we are believing that.
Yeah, wonderful. And what a gift that you've received to actually then go for it. I'm curious what you feel if you didn't receive that message, that and that real feeling of I have to go for it now. How do you think, what would have reality been like for you then?
I would probably have not been very happy in my life, for sure. I would have some regrets that I haven't done that. But I have also to be honest, Maria, in the sense it was not easy to do that. There are moments where it's really difficult, and sometimes I think, why did I do that? No, we have also to be honest to people that not the people thinks that everything is easy. No, my dream is not totally reached. I think I have also is a process that I'm going, and is going up and down as for I think the most of the artists is going. No, but we have to be conscious about that. This is the difference. If you are not conscious that there are also difficult moments where are they when they are coming, you get surprised. No, so it's not good. We have to be conscious that it's a process that is made of good moments, bad moments, but we have to be strong enough to also to think positive in the bad moments.
Absolutely. And oftentimes that's like when the right time is there and when you're ready, then somehow, you know, that readiness brings you to then experience perhaps also the more difficult times, but that might be more aligned to your intuition. Because if I'm just thinking of remembering a time when I was okay, but I was feeling an intuition inside of me, I should change my reality. And for me, that was like, how am I going to change now? I've spent so much energy, so much time in that. It's too late. How can I do this now? But my intuition told me, no, no, go and trust it. And for many times, I just pushed it away. But I wasn't living happy. I might have lived without challenges in that sense, without like physical challenges. But the challenge, that push from within, that feeling of how I lived inside my body, that feeling was very uncomfortable, more uncomfortable than when I then changed and the challenges came up for me that were aligned to me doing what I now wanted, to me doing what my intuition told me. Yes, challenges came up, but almost like being connected to myself and having jumped through that, it just released something and like a type of fulfillment that was just, okay, I'm ready for those challenges now. Obviously, everyone's different, but that's just something that reminded me of. So yeah, but absolutely, like you say, it's not always, doesn't mean that it's easy when you go after your intuition and do the jump.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
We say in Italian, sometimes we have to listen to our belly. So your intuition, or I call it intuition.
Yeah.
So listen to your belly sometimes.
Yes, yes. That's the one. And tell me a little bit more about your art itself, because yeah, it's really beautiful, and it has it's like you see energy, you see beings, or tell me a little bit more about your art and precisely.
Yes, sure. As you said before, what I'm trying to do is to explore and trying to find a bridge between the material world or the so-called spiritual world, or a world made of energy on a different level of frequency, you know. And I have a particular skill, I can say. I see energies when I walk around in the nature, or also a little fragment of mineral. I have a particular skill that with my eyes, I see energies in form of faces, of figures, no? And what I'm trying to do, thanks to my photography, is to photograph this part that I see with my real eyes, bringing it to light with my camera that is here near me, no?
Yes.
And I consider the camera a little bit more a scientific instrument than my eyes, because you know that we have this process related to our brain, that is the perception. The perception is that our brain is trying to give sense to data that we see or that we have in order to give sense to these data. But the camera is not doing that. The camera is photographing what the camera is able to catch, to photograph, finish, no? Is objective, more objective.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to do is to use the camera to photograph these energies, to bring that to life, and to show people that it exists a real energetic world around us that is different when the normal that we are used to see as matter, as more material. In the sense, I'm doing that, inviting people to look beyond, trying to go deeper in their lives, no? Inviting to have a different point of view of the same reality and also of nature. So maybe if people understand that we are made of the same matter or energy of nature, because we are totally part of nature, maybe people are starting respecting more also the environment and nature. It sounds a little bit complicated, but I think I was able to explain it.
Yeah, you were, and it's very beautiful, and how you capture the energies with what you see, and then what the camera actually captures. It's quite amazing. Because if people now go into looking and seeing your art, like you can really see energy, and often, and it's all around us all the time. And most of the time we don't notice it. So I love that you're bringing that, the awareness or the focus on to noticing it more, because yeah, that's really powerful. What do you feel for people that might see your work and start to notice energies? What do you think, what benefits might be there for them?
At the beginning, people are saying, "What is this?" They are not always able to understand what I photograph, because sometimes the figures that I photograph, they seem made from with the computer. No, they don't understand immediately is a real photograph. No, because sometimes I used to complete the figure and to mirror it, because the camera is just able to catch the material part, not the other more energetic part that I see. So I see the entire figure, but sometimes I can just take the half and then I mirror the figure in order to complete it. So when people are taking a look of that, they think I did it with the computer, but I didn't. The only manipulation is that I do the symmetric part in order to complete the figure. But during my exhibition, when I explained my concept, I also could experience that many people could have some benefits taking a look of my art. I saw many people coming 2-3 times back to my exhibition. I was so surprised, and I asked, "Why did you come back?" Because during the night, these figures were working inside me, and you helped me to understand some parts inside me. That was really nice, no?
Wow. Yeah, really nice. And it really goes hand in hand with a desire that you had to bring, what you were doing with one person at a time in psychotherapy, to do that with more people at once through your art. So there you've got the proof of how much it's working.
This is exactly my goal, no? Trying to
Yes.
help as much people as possible.
Hmm. Can I ask you, because of your 17 years vast experience with your clients, what kind of topics have you noticed that kind of like inspired you? I want to reach more people. Like, what was the thing that you've noticed that were perhaps repeating things of challenges that people are going through that you would love for them to sort of find the help they need with through art?
Most of my patients, of course, they were depressed because probably we're living in a society that is putting on you too much pressure. No? So this made me think a lot during my journey as psychologist, of course, no, because most of the also of the psychosomatic illness that I were trying to 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 heal. I use this word that is not right correct. No? They were created by depression and by a stressful society. So I was thinking that trying to invite people to become a little bit more spiritual and to focus more on ourselves, on the deeper part of ourselves, not to be attached too much to money, to matter, to material things. Probably it could also help to live in a better world. Probably, we wouldn't have so many wars. We wouldn't have people fighting every day. Because if you think, for what are people at the end always fighting, having wars? Just because of money. If we start to consider money an energy that everybody could have, probably also people could start thinking about money in a different way. Because we are fighting because we want to have more money, trying to take it away from our people. But if we are starting to think that we can all have money because it's an energy around us and everybody can be rich and we have all live in abundance, probably we wouldn't have wars around, probably.
Yeah, so I heard you say that most of the topics was about depression and psychosomatic symptoms in the body, and you wanted to really bring out really connect them to the more spiritual side of them, because the psychosomatic symptoms and the depression was related to the attachment to the physical, like physical attachment, such as money and possessions and having. And can you explain depression a little bit more to someone who might be needing a little bit more of a thorough understanding of what depression means and what it means to you?
Before I was meaning not that people got depressed because they are too much attached to money. I was saying that we are living in a society that is putting you a lot of pressure about producing, because we have to pay bills every day, and the bills are becoming higher every day. So in that sense, we have to produce. We can never stop. And COVID teaches us exactly this. We stopped just for 1 year or for a few months, and it was a tragedy in the world because it's not possible to stop. And this pressure that everybody is having, me too. I'm not saying that I'm not having this pressure sometimes, of course, as artists, no? This pressure that the economy is putting on us is very dangerous because it's causing depression. We know that symptoms of depression is to be sad, to think negative every day, to don't see the reality as it really is, like that it can also be positive. We just have bad thoughts every day. We can sleep during the night. We can start developing also psychosomatic illness like stomach ulcer, or so many people having the most different with back pain, for example, that suddenly are coming. I saw everything possible. Also cancer probably for many people that were too stressed. No? So in this sense, I think the pressure that we have on our shoulders is too high, and it's difficult to step back in this society.
Yeah. It's like I had this visual now. It's like the depression. It's like the world, the way that it's running or has been running. And obviously there's lots of shifts and changes like with the collective consciousness and so on. But the way that I had a visual now is like almost that this type of world of how that was running is pressing out the soul, the spiritual side. It's kind of like pressing that down, or because like all of the symptoms that you were just describing, the sadness, the psychosomatic from cancer to everything that you just shared, the soul itself or our beings by nature wouldn't feel or experience that, but it's like having all this pressure, as you mentioned. It's like it's pushing the soul down, pushing it down and making it smaller in order to produce, in order to function, but not designed to live through your soul and fulfilled being. Sorry if I'm going on a tangent, but that's what came up for me as you were sharing that.
Saying that, Maria, I'm not saying that I'm a saint and living all the day meditating. No, I also have material things, good clothes or similar. But my way of being spiritual is trying to do something good for humanity. This is my way to be spiritual. Probably I cannot be considered a spiritual person in the typical idea that we have of a totally spiritual person meditating the whole day, living in a ashram, don't have any goods or similar. No, I'm not this kind of person. My way to be spiritual is more concrete, to trying to help people, supporting artists, supporting people as listening to people, because I'm not working anymore as psychologist, but every day I'm talking to people that are having problems, listening to them, for example. No? So that's my way to be spiritual.
No, and I actually, I agree with you. I think, there's something about being in tune with everything, not suppressing one thing, not suppressing or pushing away the material, because it's all part of it, but also it's about balance, or almost like, how can we enjoy all of it, but also, have our soul come out and be the main protagonist in our lives. And I think exactly what you're sharing, how can I contribute to the world? How can I help people? How can I be of service in that sense? And do my part. I agree with you that that's spiritual to me too. And obviously, who wants to meditate and be in an ashram, that's fine too. It has its spiritual side, of course. But
meditating also, but it's just a little part of my day,
Yes.
And what is important to say, Maria, I think if we just meditate 1 hour a day, it's good to do that. But if the other 23 hours of our day is about stress, it doesn't work much, no? So we should try to live all the 44 hours a day in the similar way when we are in the meditative state. That would be important. That was also what I was trying to let my patient in the past understand, because people think, I don't understand why am I stressed, because I meditate 20 minutes a day. That's not enough if you all the day you are stressed, under pressure at work. No? So we should have the same mentality that we are using
Mm.
during our meditation state, also during working, for example. No?
Right. Yeah. To make it like a whole um, life setting rather than just ticking off a box and being like, okay, I meditated 20 minutes now. Now I'm a spiritual person. You know?
Exactly.
No, like really integrating it. Yeah. Wonderful. Um, so many things that come up for me. I'm trying to structure my mind because it's all
Yeah.
so interesting. You also are doing lots in NFTs. Um, tell us a little bit about you in the world of NFTs.
Yeah. Before entering NFT, I was a physical artist for about 6 years, where I developed this concept not to, I, as we said before, I'm trying to photograph energies, no? And I do that in two different ways. One way that I used in the past was to read the legend of a place and to go into nature to photograph the characters that I was seeing into the legends in the same place where the legends were played. For example, I read a legend about the Dolomites. The legends was describing a figure. For example, the witch of the Dolomites was a witch in a legend that was playing tricks to the farmers, to the local farm. This legend was played in a part of the Dolomites called Sciglia. So I went to the Sciglia to photograph the witch of the Sciglia. No? So this was one way to do that. The second way was to try to photograph them in little fragment of minerals because minerals are living creatures. So I wanted to take picture of them with the macro lens. No? This was one part of my journey. Then the second way is to go around so randomly and to take picture where I see something, not just related to legend. And I had many physical exhibition all around the world about this kind of printing my art on marbles or other kind of objects or living materials. No? When COVID came, I entered Clubhouse, the social media, no? And I discovered that all the people were talking about NFT, no? The non-fungible token. No? And I didn't understand anything at the beginning about NFT because for me it was something totally new. In Italy, nobody was talking about that. No? And so I started learning more about that. Then I had the possibility to know people knowing more about that. And we created a club called Global Art Exhibition, and where the founder was an important person that helped me to understand more about NFT. And he gave us the possibility to do also more exhibition, also physically, all around the world about NFT. And thanks to NFT, I started creating rooms on Clubhouse. You have rooms where people can join to talk. I started creating rooms, interviewing artists, supporting artists. So I had the possibility to keep in touch with the most important artists all around the world related to NFT. And since that moment, my journey in NFT started. No? And I had the possibility to associate my art to NFT.
Wow. Wow, that's so interesting as well. How that all happened for you, and Clubhouse seemed to have been like a sort of like the stepping stone for that for you, right? In some way.
Yes.
And what do you love about NFTs yourself, if anything?
I love more parts about NFT. One is a technical part, I would say, because NFT is a tool. You have the possibility to put your artworks into blockchain. So that is a good thing to do because you associate your files also to a crypto token that is a kind of code that is making your file unique. So you put and create a smart contract on blockchain saying that you are the creator and that this piece is totally unique. So this is giving a lot of value to your art. At the same time, we know that blockchain is a public ledger that everybody can read in a very transparent way. So everything is written on this ledger, and all the collector, everybody can see every transition that was done related to your art. So that's very good. No? The second part that I love about NFT, that you become part of a so-called decentralized community. Decentralized means that you become the totally owner of your art, and you don't need any intermediary between you and your art to selling that or to reach collectors. In the physical world of art, you normally need a gallerist, or you need a curator. You need always a people, an intermediary trying to help you to sell that on a higher level. No? In the NFT, is a little bit different because the system is allowing you to become part of a community where you sell directly your art, and most of the collectors are the artists themselves, for example. That is something new. And the collectors have also the possibility to resell on the secondary market very fast your art. So you become part of a system that is totally different. Of course, slowly also in the NFT, we are seeing more curators, more galleries coming in, but that is normal. The point is that in your mind, you become decentralized. No? That is the most new concept related to NFT.
Wow. So like more independence and more freedom to be yourself and do what you want to do. Am I getting that from that as well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just mentally, but also technically, because you
Yes, in
are
both ways.
totally the owner of what you do.
Fantastic. Actually, now for the artists that are listening, or the new artists more like from your experience now, having jumped into the art world and with all your experience that you've done from doing physical art live to NFTs, what would be like a summarized sort of words of wisdom to artists who perhaps are right at the beginning and still, perhaps feel a little bit of fear of like, what do I do? What would be your words of wisdom for them to take the plunge, or a piece of advice?
What I would suggest to the new artists is to focus on your creativity, starting not to think too much about the marketing part. That is also important, of course, as artists. But if you are too much focused just on the selling part, you will get depressed for sure, no? In the sense that it's not very easy at the beginning to become into the right circles in order to sell your art. So it's better just to believe in your art and to focus on what you are doing and on your creativity, and to do that with enthusiasm. Really be enthusiastic about that, and the sales will come. I did also the same mistake, something that sometimes in the times where I was not selling too much, I was too much worried about this part, instead of focusing on creating and to be happy again about the act of creation. No? So what I suggest to the new people is to focus more on that part and not to the other part that is the so-called marketing part, that of course is necessary also.
Yeah, beautiful. And because I want to cover for everybody as well, like, so other listeners might be the ones who listen to this podcast for perhaps having the courage to be creative themselves. Perhaps they felt, I'm not creative. Maybe some might also struggle with depression or related. What would be your piece of advice and wisdom for them on their journey that comes up for you?
I realized going from space to space that most of the artists are becoming depressed exactly because they don't sell. This is normally the reason they become more depressed. No? So as I said before, I think my suggestion is trying to not to compare yourself to the other artists that are selling more, because is the NFT, one of the, I would say, the problem or the risk of NFT is that you have all the day ranking list in front of you. Because if you go to the platform, you see who was selling more. So you see really a rank list of people selling. That could be dangerous, in my opinion, because if you start comparing yourself to other artists that are having another journey as artists, maybe they started before, maybe they have bigger connections. We know that the world of art is made of connection, no? So they have another journey different to us, but it doesn't mean that if I don't sell today, I'm not a good artist. It's important to do this work in our mind, because sometimes I was the first to do this comparison to compare myself
Comparison.
to other artists, because of course it's normal, we are human, no? But if you are doing to do that, you can become depressed. So it's better to focus on yourself, say, no, this is my journey, this is my art, and I'm sure I will sell at the right moment, reaching the right collectors. But I have to believe in that and be patient. We don't reach dreams in few days. People entering the NFT are thinking, oh, I become rich immediately. No, it's not like that. We have to work hard to reach our dream.
Mm.
Another suggestion, Maria, that I could give to new artists entering the NFTs or the world of art is to develop a personal style that could be recognizable. So it's important to have always a red thread in your art, not to jump from one style to the other. So if a collector or a person is taking a look of your art, is saying, oh, this is Stefano, they recognize you immediately. That's very good to do in my opinion.
Beautiful, right? Yeah, spend time with yourself. Don't compare yourself with others. Invest in your own style and don't jump too much. And yeah, so much wisdom in there. So I thank you so much for all of that. We're just about to close, but I also want to make sure that you share, like, if you have any projects, where you're going to be next, how people can find you, anything that you want to share that's going on for you right now for people to have to know about.
I forgot to mention before that I also, a part of my journey was also to be a curator. I curated 3 important exhibitions about related to NFT, one in Hong Kong at the Key 11 Start Art Gallery. The second was at the Palazzo Merulana, a very famous museum of Rome. And the third was in Sharjah, that is one of the Emirates, with the local government. So it's also part of my journey. So what I'm working on now is to organize new events in all around the world. Is a part of my work now where I'm focusing on. And then I'm trying to work on a new concept related to my art, not a new concept, but another project that is to create an energy selfie. Actually, the energy selfie is where I have an old machine of my father that is a Kirlian machine, is an old Kirlian machine. The Kirlian machine is a machine that is able to detect the body aura, putting the finger on it. If you put the finger in it, you see the body aura related to the finger in this case, but is representing all the body. So I'm taking picture of it, and I'm trying to do that with another person. So I create a kind of selfie, but it's a selfie that is different. It's a selfie where it's not related to faces, that is more related also to the exterior part of us, but it's a selfie of energy. So it's a totally new concept related to selfie. Wow. About identity, because the finger is representing your personal identity, is a kind of personal signature. But at the same time, if you connect your energy with the one of another person, is becoming a collective identity, because we are made of energy. So we are all part of the same universe made of energy.
Wow, this is so
project
cool.
coming.
What an awesome project. Wow, this is the best selfie I could imagine. Really, really cool. And yeah, fantastic. All the projects you've got going on with the curations everywhere. So I would just recommend everyone to follow your journey and go and check you out on your socials. All your socials will be underneath the podcast, so you can go out there and see Stefano's journeys and his curations and his art. And yeah, look forward to the selfie parts. That's really cool. Well, Stefano, I thank you very much for coming on this podcast today. It was a real pleasure to interview you and get to know more about you and your background, and also to have your wisdom being shared in this podcast. So I appreciate it. And I'll say thank you and goodbye. We'll speak in the next one.
Thanks to you, Maria. It was really nice to be here with you, and thanks for the good question.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.